सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Sairam everyone. We had completed 10 mantras of the fourth Anuvaka of Rudram last week. We will continue from where we left off. Namah Kshatrubhyah Sangrahitrabhyascha Vo Namah. Namah Kshatrubhyah Sangrahitrabhyascha Vo Namah. Namah Kshatrubhyah Sangrahitrabhyascha Vo Namah. In terms of pronunciation, the first is Namaha Ksha, Uk and Sh, okay, both, which is the cerebral Ksha. So Ksha, and the next letter is It, and R, okay, Kshatru. Then Ib, as we have discussed, is the fourth letter in the Pa Varga, has to be aspirated. Sangrahi Tr, again, Ubhya. Ub again is the fourth letter in the Pa Varga, has to be aspirated. So if you look at the meaning, Namaha, salutation, Kshatrubhyaha. Kshatrubhyaha is the fourth vibhakti or the fourth form, which means two or four, two, to Kshattaraha. Okay, Kshatta is the singular, Kshattaraha is the plural. The Bhashyakara's commentators have given slightly different meanings, so I have captured both here. Kshattaraha is one who makes the chariot go, actually, okay, who does whatever has to be done for the chariot to move. So the one of the meaning is those who drive the chariot, who give instructions to drive the chariot, you can say, okay, who give the instructions for the chariot to move on. They can be considered the drivers or the charioteers, but what we have to understand is they make it happen. Okay, they make the chariot to move. So they are Kshattara. So to them, our salutation. Kshatrubhyaha Namaha means to Kshattaraha, our salutation. To the charioteers, our salutation. The next word is Sangrahitrabhyaha. Sangrahitrabhyaha. Okay. Which is again the fourth vibhakti or the fourth form of the simple plural noun, sangrahitaraha. Okay, sangrahitaraha. Sangrahitaraha. Graha means to hold, to receive also, to take something also, grahi. Sangrahi means who have taken it nicely. Okay, some has this meaning of doing something properly, completely. Okay, so somebody who is holding. So the meaning the commentators have given is those who hold the reins. So they say the instructions come from the charioteer, and then there are people who hold the reins as per the instructions. So you can say people who receive the instructions also can be said sangrahi. Those who take hold of the reins, that's also the action of sangraha. So both meanings have been given by commentators. So one can say those who give the instructions to make the chariot move, and those who receive those instructions and who take hold of the reins are sangrahitaraha. Okay, so to them also our salutation. So that's the meaning. So you can say there are different kinds of work. Actually, we have been looking at people who engage in different type of works are also included in this Anuvaka, because we see the Lord Rudra as someone who works through them. His power works through these people and manifests as many. So you can see this all plural. So all those who are giving instructions, and all those who receive those instructions, and through that process the chariot moves forward properly. To all of them our salutation. So that's the meaning. We will look at a few excerpts of Swami's discourses. Man alone has the chance to liberate himself from the wheel of birth and death through the most pleasant means, that of serving God. But as a result of ignorance, or what is worse, perversity, he lets the opportunity slip from his hands and suffers grief and pain, fear and anxiety ad infinitum. By escaping from the clutches of the fascination exercised by material objects and physical pleasures, man can succeed in his efforts to liberate himself. He has traveled long enough on the wrong road. It is time now to turn back and move steadily towards the goal. The love that he has cultivated for men and things has to be sublimated into pure divine worship. Then it gets transmuted as bhakti, love for God, love of God. Convince yourself that the Lord is in you as the charioteer, holding the reins of the 5 horses, the senses, and giving you constant counsel, as he did when Arjuna prayed to him to lead and guide, and then it becomes easy for you to convince yourself that the self same charioteer is leading and guiding all other men and even all other beings. When you are established in this faith firmly, you become free of hate and malice, greed and envy, anger and attachment. Pray to the Lord to strengthen this conviction and this faith. He will open your eyes to the truth and reveal to you that he is the Sanatana Sarathi in all. Sanatana Sarathi means eternal charioteer. That revelation will confer on you incomparable ananda and grant you kinship with creation's manifoldness. That is the reason why Krishna told Duryodhana, who pleaded with him for help against the Pandavas on the eve of the battle. If you hate the Pandavas, you are hating me, for they have recognized me as the breath of their life. So this an excerpt from a discourse Swami gave in 31st July 1967. So as we can see, Swami is talking about everyone being a chariot. Every body which we see in this world is a chariot. And who is the charioteer? The Lord within is the charioteer. And if the mind listens to the Lord and takes hold of the reins, that is receiving the instructions from the Lord and also controlling the senses, which is taking hold of the reins. Sangrahit. Okay, we receive the teachings, we take hold of the reins. Both have to happen. And Swami says that if when we practice that and when we realize that experientially, then we will not hate anyone or we will not have any malice towards anyone, because we understand the Lord is in charge. So we worship the Lord who is actually the one who is giving instructions and who is the one who is capable of taking hold of the reins, just the way Arjuna asked Krishna to do. And then Swami goes on to say, see, the Pandavas should not be hated. If you hate Pandavas, you hate me, Krishna is telling. Such people who listens to the counsel of the Lord and also take hold of the senses, like the way Arjuna and his brothers did, then they become divine themselves, because Krishna says, if you hate them, you are hating me. So that is the mantra, basically. Namaha kshatrabhyah sangrahitrabhyascha o namaha. Because you are the one who is the charioteer. So to that Lord, who is the one who is controlling in every single chariot, every single person, every single body that we see, to that power, that Rudra, we bow down. So that is the mantra. We look at another excerpt. This is a discourse Swami gave in 12th September 1984. Krishna said, Arjuna, you are taking me as the charioteer of your chariot. Take me as the charioteer of your life. The seat on which I am seated is the chariot. In this chariot is very clean and well decorated. Think how clean and how grand your heart should be to make it a seat for me. If I become the charioteer of your heart, as long as Rajo and Tamo gunas are there, the heart is not pure. These two gunas will go on polluting and dirtying the heart. Therefore, to begin with, remove the Tamo and Rajo gunas. Make every effort to remove the dirt from your heart. So here Swami is also telling us in our own self how we can make the Lord the charioteer by removing the Rajo and Tamo gunas and removing the dirt, so that he will become the charioteer. So, just the mantra should also remind us that in our own heart, we also have to give the reins to the Lord. We should listen to the Lord. And that can happen only by purifying ourselves. And this mantra, chanting and contemplating on it, meditating on it, will help us get to that place one day. Saira. So we'll go to the next mantra.
Sir, brother, there's a small mistake on the third line, spelling mistake. Clean, I think, yeah?
Where, brother?
The previous slide.
Okay, so...
The third line, that this chariot is very clean.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the next mantra. Namastakshabhyo Ratha-karebhyascha Vo Namaha. Namastakshabhyo Ratha-karebhyascha Vo Namaha. Namastakshabhyo Ratha-karebhyascha Vo Namaha. In terms of meaning, Namas Taksha. Ksha again, just the same way in the previous mantra. Ksha, just that Sha has to be cerebral. Ub is aspirated because it's the fourth letter in the Pavarga. Takshabhyo. Ratha. Tha here is the second letter in the Tavarga. So it has to be aspirated with some air, extra air. Ratha. Karebhya. Again a fourth letter in the Pavarga. So Namaha, as you can see, the Visarga has become is.
Aram, brother. Is that the transliteration is going?
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you very much. I will just fix it. Give me a minute. Okay, thank you. So I think you all are paying attention to only the transliteration, it looks like, but it's okay. But it's fine. Until you become familiar with it, it's good to rely on the transliteration. Thank you very much. Okay, so we will continue. So Namastakshabhyo Ratha Karebhyascha Vo Namaha. Namastakshabhyo Ratha Karebhyascha Vo Namaha. Namastakshabhyo Ratha Karebhyascha Vo Namaha. So Namaha, the Visarga has become is, as you can see, because of Sandhi, Namas. The next word is Takshabhyaha. Takshabhyaha means it's the fourth vibhakti or fourth form of the simple plural noun Takshanaha. Takshanaha. The singular is Takshan. Takshan. And the plural is Takshanaha, which means carpenters. I think many of you are Tamil here, so that's why we say Tachan. The word Tachan, which refers to carpenter, comes from the Sanskrit word Takshan. Takshan means one who cuts, who splits anything, who cuts, who saws the wood. So he's Taksha. Who he removes anything, who splits anything, that person is actually called Taksha. But generally, carpenters do that kind of splitting their job. Because of that, carpenters are called Takshan. Takshanaha as plural. So there's one mantra, one meaning. One of the commentators is those who cut through tapas. Apparently, they can cut through anything through tapas. If the wood, wood of bad qualities can be cut through, pierced through by tapas. Such people are called taksha. Because ta stands for tapas, ksha means to cut. Okay, that kind of a meaning. One of the commentators are given. So takshabhya. So to them, our salutations. Takshabhya namaha. To takshanaha salutations. Okay. The next word is ratha karebhya. Ratha karebhya. As you can see that visarga becomes ish because of sandhi. Ratha karebhya means again it's a fourth vibhakti, a fourth form of the simple plural noun Ratha Karaha. Ratha Karaha. Ratha Karaha is the singular. Rathakaraha means it's plural. They are chariot makers. Ratha means chariot. Karaha means who make. So we bow down to all those who make Ratha. Okay, Rathakarebhyaha Namaha. So in simple words, these people who engage in this type of work, to them also are worship because they are also helping, and it's the Lord who actually functions through them also. So as you can see, people of doing various jobs are being worshipped. But the Ratha also means our bodies, Swami has said. So who creates this body? The Lord is the one who creates the body. You can say our parents also have created the form in which we inhabit. So all those who contribute the work of the Lord of creating bodies for this Ratham, to all of them also our prayers. So you can see all those parents, all those who have given birth, to them also our salutations. And the Lord is the one who actually makes things happen through them also. Dakshanaha, those who cut through tapas, means they also cut through the body consciousness. If the body is the wood, who cut through that. So I will say ego is, the cross stands for removal of cutting asunder the I, ego. So you can take it that way also. People who have cut through the ego, they are also the real Takshanaha. So that kind of meaning also can be, because there are layers of meaning, whichever meaning which appeals to us for our own purpose, we can pick and choose. That is the beauty of these Vedic mantras. Okay, salutation to the carpenters and chariot makers, and to you, O Lord. Wo, okay, Vaha means to you. Vaha means plural. So the you who comes through as so many around us in this world, to you, that Rudra, we bow down. Okay, Namastakshabhyo Rathakarebhyascha Wo Namaha. We look at a couple of excerpts, I think just one excerpt. God is the creator of this world. He is the presiding deity of action. Karmadhyaksha. Karma Adhyaksha. Karmadhyaksha means one who is responsible, who is the one who is the boss, you can say, who makes things happen. He is the real person who gets things done. Okay, Karmadhyaksha. You cannot have a table unless there's a carpenter to make it. You cannot construct a house unless there's a builder. Likewise, for everything, there is a creator. All that you see, mobile and immobile, is the creation of God. That is the reason he is extolled as Karmadhyaksha. He presides over every activity. This discourse Swami gave an excerpt from a discourse Swami gave in 28 July 1999. So which basically means that everything in this, so these mantras also have to tell nothing in the world can be created by human beings without the will and the help of the Lord. And to that, to cultivate that faith, these type of mantras help us. And Swami said, mobile and immobile. Ratha is that which moves. But then there are many things which are also immobile, which are created by God. And okay, even if the carpenter does the work, it is the Lord who is getting the work done through the carpenter. So that kind of meaning comes through, and Swami has nicely explained. We'll go to the next mantra. Nama Kulalebhya Karmarebhyascha Vo Namaha. Nama Kulalebhya Karmarebhyascha Vo Namaha. Nama Kulalebhya Karmarebhyascha Vo Namaha. In terms of pronunciation, nothing much is except ub, which is the fourth letter which has to be aspirated, fourth letter in the pa varga. Otherwise, it should be pretty simple for most of you, all of you, I would say. So we will go to the meaning. Namaha, salutation. Kulalebhyaha. Kulalebhyaha is the fourth vibhakti or fourth form of the simple plural noun kulala. Kulalaha is singular. Kulalaha means plural. Kulala means potters who work with clay to make various kinds. Okay, who use clay to make various pots, pans, cups, plates, whatever, all made of clay, or soil, you can say, earth. Kulala. So kulalebhyaha namaha. Kulalebhya means to kulala, to the potters, our salutation. The next one is karmarebhyaha. Karmarebhyaha. Again, that is also fourth vibhakti or fourth form of simple plural noun karmarah. Karmaraha is singular. Karmaraha means plural. Karmaraha means blacksmiths, those who work any metal actually. We have used the word blacksmiths, but who work with metal are karmaraha. So to them also our worship, our salutations. And the Lord who is making them do all this work, to the Lord also we bow down. To the Lord within them we bow down, who makes these things happen through them. So salutation to the potters and blacksmiths, and to you, O Lord. Okay. It also means kulalebhya means potters means any utensil that we make, we use in our life. All those who have contributed. Maybe in today's world there is no clay, there are plastic and enamel or whatever. Many materials are used, and we have pots, pans, and utensils. So all those who make, how it has come to us, we send our gratitude to them for having made them, so we are able to use them in our daily life. Sometimes we do not recognize the contribution of people in the world because we think we are paid price, so it's okay. But though we are paid price for the material and the labor, the gratitude also has to be expressed. So this gratitude is a recognition of all the contributions in this world which make us live comfortably in this world. That gratitude is also demonstrated through this mantra, salutation to them. And the blacksmiths, anything which is made of metal, because they are doing a lot of hard work in very unfavorable conditions through a lot of sweat and pain and struggle. So to them all, with gratitude, we pay our respects. And the Lord who is making them all function, to the Lord also we send our prayers and salutations. So salutations to the potters and blacksmiths, and to you, O Lord. Namah kulalebhya karmarebhyascha wo namaha. We will look at an excerpt. It's maybe a slightly lengthy excerpt, but I thought it's nice. I did not want to cut down to 1 or 2 lines because the context also matters. So it's a slightly longer excerpt. I hope you all don't mind. Nagaya, even while he plays the role of Tyagaya, is always conscious that he is Nagaya. Tyagaya is the role I am playing, he would say. Now go one step further. When asked who you are, say that you are the embodiment of God, Narayana Swarupa, playing the role of Pullaya or Timmaya or Malaya or whatever your name is. So to every other person is a role played by Narayana, God. Narayana washed clothes as the washerman, shaped wood as the carpenter, forged iron as the blacksmith, prepared pots at the wheel as a potter. He is all this and more. His glory is inexhaustible. The avatar, divine incarnate, is another role he takes up for another purpose. The Lord comes as avatar when he is anxiously awaited by saints and sages. The pious sadhus prayed, and I have come. My tasks are three, or rather two, since protection of virtue and protection of Vedic culture are both practically the same. Protection of virtue and protection of Vedic culture are both practically the same. The two are therefore fostering of the Vedas and fostering of the devotees. So as you can see, the three things which Swami has come for are protection of virtue, protection of Vedic culture, and fostering of devotees. But then he says there are two because protection of virtue and protection of Vedic culture are more or less the same. Now, what is devotion? Who are devotees? Devotion is faith, steadiness, virtue, fearlessness, surrender, absence of egoism. Worships done, however elaborately and pompously, is sheer waste of time and energy. Why pluck flowers and hasten their death? Some of you go around this nilayam and satisfy yourselves that you have done so many circumambulations, that they can be called so only when your mind circles this place along with your feet. So I've just, I did not want to cut out any piece, but you can see the Lord is the one who works as the potter, as the carpenter, as the blacksmith, and they are all Narayana. And Swami says we also should recognize there's Narayana who makes us function. Just again, as Swami said, just talking about it's not good enough. Our mind and heart also, we should experience the same thing. Then it becomes proper devotion. And as you can see, Swami has mentioned about the Vedas, so I did not want to leave out. So that is for the Lord is also doing that. And if we are studying and if we are chanting and if we are using it for our sadhana, we are actually helping the Lord, or we are taking part in the Lord's work, and pray that He continues to do so through us. So kulalebhya karmarebhyascha vo namaha. We'll go to the next mantra. Namah punjishtebhyo nishadebhyascha vo namaha. Namah punjishtebhyo nishadebhyascha vo namaha. Namah punjishtebhyo nishadebhyascha vo namaha. In terms of pronunciation, punji in G, okay, it's not punchi because sometimes people may pronounce as chi, it's punji, punjish, ishta, ish again is the cerebral isha and ta. Both the sounds are produced with the tongue raised, pushta, okay, punjishto, ub again is the fourth letter in the pavarga, so it has to be aspirated. Nisha, okay. The sha is again tongue raised up. Nishadebhyascha. Nishadebhya. Okay, ub is again fourth letter in the pavarga, has to be aspirated. Okay. Nishadebhyascha vo namaha. Namaha, we'll look at the meaning. Namaha, salutation. Punjishtebhya. Okay. Punjishtebhya is the fourth vibhakti or the fourth form of the simple plural noun punjishtaha. Punjishtaha is singular. Punjish. Okay. Punjishtaha means fowlers who catch wild fowls or birds. You know, the people who lay nets and catch birds. Okay, bird catchers, you can say, are fowlers. So to them, our salutation. Punjishtebhyah namaha. Those who catch fowls or birds, some form of hunting, you can say. To them also our salutations. Nishadebhyah is the next word. Nishadebhyah is the fourth verb form or fourth vibhakti of the simple plural noun nishadaha. Nishadaha. Nishadaha is singular. Nishadaha is plural. Okay, nishadaha, nishadaha. So nishadaha means fishermen who catch fish. So to them also our salutation. So nishadebhyah namaha. To nishadaha or to the fishermen, our salutation. And vaha and cha and vaha is to you. So as you can see, the Rudra mantras do not leave out even fishermen. Even we may not eat fish, but they are not left out because they are also playing a role in the grand scheme of things with the help of the Lord. They are helping the people who may eat the fish, who may eat fowl, or birds. But they are also part of creation. Is a recognition by Rudra that the Lord is playing through them also, doing certain actions to them. Just the way in this world, if you take the animal kingdom, there are tigers eating other animals. That birds of prey exist, animals of prey exist. They also part of the grand scheme of creation. But here, even though we are devotees, we are praying to Rudra, we cannot say that they are not part of the Lord. That is also part of the Lord. But we are in the path towards the Lord. So there are people who may say, oh, Rudram says fishermen also, so we can eat fish, we can eat birds. No, we have talked about thieves also and robbers. So that means they also are part of the Lord. That has to be recognition. That has to be recognized by those who are worshipping Rudra. So that also comes through. So you can see the equality of that. Everything in this world is suffused with divinity is something which this Anuvaka teaches us. So the devotees have to be able to recognize that divinity in everything and everyone, whoever it is and whatever work they are doing. Through them all, the Lord is functioning. In them also, the Lord remains. That recognition is the mantra, which mantras we are looking.
Brother,
Yes.
Sai Ram, so I just want to go back to the Swami's discourse. In that, where Swami is saying, why plug flower and take the thing, take a death or something? What is referred by that, Swami? So what is Swami is trying to tell us with that?
Okay. It's see, we all of us pluck flowers and offer it to the Lord. So Swami says, if we are not doing it with our mind as an offering to the Lord, then we have wasted their life. The flowers also, if you're plucking to offer to the Lord, then you can be glad that the flowers have gone to the feet of the Lord. But if we do not, as you can see, the Swami says, you can circumambulate, but when your mind is also, then you can call it circumambulation. So if the flower is offered, if the mind is also offered as part of that, then we can say we have offered the flowers properly. Otherwise, Swami says you have just hastened their death. You have just destroyed. Otherwise, the flowers, the tree was anyway offering the flower to the Lord. But then we have taken the flower, which don't belong to us. But we should give it with full heart to the Lord and with the right state of mind. That's why Swami says, if the mind is not involved, then it's a waste. You are just kill the flower. So just the way the mantras also, if the mantras we are just chanting without understanding the meaning, without the mind fully engrossed in it, then that's also not worth. It's no different. So what Swami wants to point out to us is that our mind also should be one with the action in which we are. So as soon as this happens, then why some of us say, oh, Swami has said flowers cause death, so we will not offer flowers. So that is not what Swami mentioned. Offering the flower is good, but if you do not offer the flower with your mind engrossed in that activity, then you have just wasted that flower. I think that's sense I understand.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I'm just confused with that. Thanks.
Yeah, that's why there are many places Swami has said certain things. If they are taken out of context, they can completely mean different things. Somebody will read this and they will say, okay, hereafter no flowers in the center. Swami doesn't like it. That's the way they will say. But if you go to Prashantalayam, there were people offering flowers to the Lord. So we need to understand in what context and to explain what meaning Swami shared something. I hope, okay, that's my understanding, but I'll just leave it at that. So Punjishtobhyo Nishadebhyo we have looked at. Let's look at some excerpts from Swami's discourse. If we compare our life to a tree, even as many birds perch on the branch of a tree, we can conceive of several birds perching on the branches of this tree of life. These birds come to eat food, to rest, or to foul the place. When we see a number of birds making noise on the tree in our courtyard, we go out, clap our hands, and shout to scare the birds away. The birds that perch on the tree of our life are the bad tendencies that wish to foul our thoughts. We should drive them away with the nama and the tala. But in doing this, what do we gain? When the birds remain on the tree, the shade below the tree is befouled. When the birds go away, the presence become pure and clean. Probably you may be wondering what you should do if the birds come again. If you continue to make the sound with your hands and with your mouth, the birds will not return to the tree at all. To purify your minds and to prevent these bad tendencies from entering your thoughts must be the aim of your life. You must continuously chant the name of the Lord so that these birds may not return. The tongue of man is holiest instrument because it can utter the sweet and sacred name of God. Therefore, you must never feed this tongue with impure sounds because the tongue by itself is sacred and holy. This is a discourse Swami gave in 29 May 1972. So you can wonder, we are talking about bird catchers and how come here Swami is talking about the birds being chased away. But I just wanted to point out that we can say bird catcher means who has, caught the birds, who the birds can't make anything more, and they'll kill the birds also. So that means if we take the bad tendencies and get rid of them, such a person is Punjishta, who have controlled all the birds, who have destroyed all the birds. If the birds come, he catches and destroys. How? Through the Lord's help. Even chasing away also you can say is Punjashtebhya, because they also getting rid of the birds in whichever way. So to them also we salute. All those who are helping for these birds which are bad qualities to go away, bad thoughts to go away, to them also our salutation. That way also we can take Punjashtebhya. That type of bird catchers or fowlers is we are bowing down. So that's another way we can interpret the meaning. So then this is another one, I think, which is slightly long, but we'll go through. There are 3 fish in a pond. One fish said to the other 2, the water in this pond will run dry day after day. A time will come when the pond may become completely dry. And before the fisherman comes to catch us, it is necessary that we go and stay in some place where there is a perennial supply of water. The second fish said, you are imagining, your mind is full of needless fears. The pond will not run dry. The fisherman will not come to bother us. Enjoy your present state. The third fish said the same thing. The first fish was discouraged when the other 2 did not accept its advice, so it had to share their fate. As anticipated, the fisherman came and trapped them, cooked and ate them. Our life may be compared to a pond, and the length of our life to the water. The 3 fish are the 3 gunas, Tamo, Raja and Sattva. The sattvic tendency always decides to follow the path of good and fixes its attention on things that are permanent. It decides that before the level of water runs down, it should save itself, and it always thinks of noble things. Water has been compared to the length of life, and day by day it recedes, and at any time death may overcome it. The fisherman is the emblem of death. Tama and Rajas are antagonistic to Sattva, and therefore even the merit of Sattva is counteracted by the other 2. These 2 gunas, Tama and Raja, mislead our senses and send them along the wrong path. We should first try to control Tama and Raja and thereby attain mastery over our senses. If we follow good methods, even Raja and Tama may be conquered by close association with Sattva. We should believe that holy, sacred, perennial love can be found in every human heart where God resides. We should believe that God is the indweller of the heart and must follow the teaching that comes from the heart and adopt good methods to follow such teaching. So the real fisherman is the Lord himself. Or Swami says God of death is also stands for fisherman. So, but it's even the God of death is the Lord himself. Rudra himself is responsible for destruction. Actually, he destroys all that is bad in us. So we can say the real fishermen are people who get rid of all the gunas. To them also our salutation. Nishadebhyaha namaha means to all those who have got rid of, whose job is to destroy the 3 gunas. To them we bow down. And how do they operate? Because of the Lord. The Rudra is the one who works through them. So we can say the bird catchers are those who have gotten rid of the birds, which are the thoughts which make all sorts of noise. The fish catchers or the fishermen are the ones who destroy the gunas. So to them also our worship, our salutation. So that's also meaning, and recognizing that the Lord is the one who is functioning through them. So that way understand that the Lord through various activities, various manners, is making, even in the physical world also he is the one who is operating, but in the mental world also the same functions happen of the Lord, and we should recognize, and we also should become either a fisherman or a carpenter at the mental realm, where we get rid of our bad thoughts, or we overcome our gunas with the help of the Lord, because he is the one who is capable of helping us achieve that. So this is a discourse excerpt from 1972, discourse number 17. Go to the 15th mantra. Nama ishukridbhyo dhanvakridbhyascha wo namaha. Nama ishukridbhyo dhanvakridbhyascha wo namaha. Nama ishukridbhyo dhanvakridbhyascha wo namaha. We can, in terms of pronunciation, ishu, I think we have looked at it. The ishu is again cerebral sha. Tongue should be raised up. Ishu, kridbhya. Okay, kridbhya. This letter is actually 3 letters are there. Id, ub, and ya. Id is non-aspirated. 3rd letter in the Thavarga. Id, b is the 4th letter in the Pavarga, so it has to be aspirated. Id, ya. Okay, idbhyo. So that's a 3-letter compound consonant. Dhanva. This dha is the 4th letter in the Thavarga. So it has to be aspirated. Okay, dha. Dhanva. Kridbhya. Again, there are 3 letters in this. Id, b, and ya. Okay. Idbhya. So the b has to be aspirated because it's the 4th letter in the Pavarga. Okay. Kridbhyascha vo namaha. We can look at the meaning. Namaha. As you can see, the visarga is dropped because it's followed by E. Okay. So that's a sandhi. That's why the visarga is dropped. Nama. Ishu. Ishu kridbhyaha. Ishu kridbhyaha is the 4th vibhakti or 4th form, verb form of the simple plural noun Ishu krintaha. Ishu krintaha. Okay. Ishu krintaha is plural. Ishu krin, okay, is Ishukrin is singular. So issue, as we have, I think we have looked at in the first Anuvaka also, issue is actually arrow. So Ishukrin means, Ishukrintaha means those who make arrows. So those who make arrows, we bow down to them. Arrow makers. Okay. So Ishukridbhyaha namaha, to Ishukrintaha, or to the arrow makers, our salutation. Okay, so the next word is dhanva kridbhyaha. Dhanva kridbhyaha. Okay, dhanva kridbhyaha is the 4th form of 4th verb form or 4th vibhakti of simple plural noun dhanva krintaha. Dhanva krintaha. Dhanva krin is the singular. Dhanva krintaha means plural. Dhanva means we have looked at as a dhanu. Dhanush is nothing but a bow. Okay. So bow, dhanva krin means one who makes bows. So we have looked at arrow makers, now bow makers. Dhanva kridbhyah namaha means we bow down to dhanva krintaha or to the bow makers, our salutation. And vahacha is and, vaha is to you. So the Lord, who is the one who makes arrows and bows through them, to that Lord we bow down. Because after all, the Lord is the one. In the previous excerpt, I think one of the previous excerpts, we saw that Swami says everyone is a Narayana, form of a Narayana. So these people who are enjoyed in this these occupations are also forms of Narayana, and Narayana is working through them. So to recognizing them also as part of the divine, as an embodiment of divine, our salutation. Salutations to the arrow makers and bow makers and to you. I have not given any excerpt because I think we have covered a lot of excerpts in the first Anuvaka about Ishu and Dhanva. As you can remember, I hope, that Ishu, the arrows are nothing but our own thoughts. The mind itself is a bow. Swami has reflected even the body as bow. But the mind itself is the bow from which the arrows, thoughts are sent. So who is the Lord? The Lord is the one who creates these thoughts through the mind. So we bow down to the Lord so that the arrows or the bows become good. Sudhanvane, as we have discussed, good bows, good thoughts. So those who make good thoughts, to them our bow down. Whoever has good thoughts, to such people we bow down. Whoever has made their mind so good, to them that is the real mind. A good mind is the one who is the mind. A bad mind is not a good mind. Okay, so when we say Dhanvakrit, means who have made their mind pure, who are full of good thoughts, to them we bow down. So it also means our own mind should be such that it should have only good thoughts. We also should make our mind a perfect mind, where the Lord can reside. Actually, as we have seen, Swami says, if I have to take up residence in your heart, it has to be clean. It should not have rajas and tamas. It should be devoid of all bad qualities. Okay, then through that, bringing the Lord within us, through that process, we will make our mind pure. And we bow down to all those who have done that. We bow down to them. And we also should take this as a lesson for us to get to that place where our thoughts are good. Our mind is also perfect, so that the Lord can take residence and work through that. So that's the mantra. I did not bring any excerpt because I think you can go back and look at the discourses before. Swami has sort of stated these in many words. So that's all I had prepared, because I think last week I did many mantras and I think it was a bit overwhelming. I got some feedback, so I've reduced the number of mantras. I hope it's okay. I will stop here, and if anyone has any questions and I have answers, I will share. Otherwise, I will do some research and come back. So I will stop here. If anyone has something to say, please.
I have one question, Sairam.
Yes.
This regarding the Namo and Namaha, I have a little bit of in Shruti, it says Namo Gupyas Svanachavo Namo, and that's Namaha, and the difference seems to have a lot of gap, isn't it? Like that.
So the last Namaha is you are talking about?
All the Namos here is everything is Namo.
Yeah. So I think somebody had raised the same question last week also, brother.
Yes.
See, the thing is, this Namaha,
Yes.
at different points, it becomes Namo, and sometimes it becomes Namas, because of what are called sandhis, which is joining of words together. What normally we chant is actually we chant all of them together. So at such points, this Namaha may become Namo depending on what follows it. So normally it is Namaha, but when you bring something else together, that Visarga, which is the two dots, they change to sometimes O, sometimes is, sometimes ir, sometimes it is even dropped. So for example, if you look at this one, Nama issue, here also it's Namaha. But because we are looking at this mantra as a separate entity, and this, by joining this together, that Visarga is dropped. So in some cases, say for example, if so here it's Namaha, okay? The Visarga is not even dropped. Actually, it should be pronounced, I don't know whether, just a technical thing. Here it should be Nama. This actually takes on a sound, actually. Nama Punjishtebhyo, okay? It's not Namaha Punjishtebhyo. Nama Punjishtebhyo. Because it's followed by Pa, that visarga actually is pronounced with oof, oof. Okay, so that is a sandhi. But as you can see, the visarga is there. But if I go to a previous one, so if you look here, it's namas. Again, it's namaha, but because it's followed by ta, it has become is. Namastakshab. Okay. But if you go, but you can see this takshabhyaha, okay, has become yo. The visarga has become o because it's followed by ra. That is also sandhi. So I think because you missed some of the earlier Sanskrit classes, where I have covered some of these sandhis, maybe I will do an exhaustive. But because I have picked up each mantra separately, so I've cut it. As you can see this line that has basically cut. So because of that, visarga, nothing is following, so visarga is there as is. But if you remove this stop and you join it with something else, it can become O. Okay, that is only because when you bring things together, things slightly change. The visarga changes according to what follows it. Okay, but because I am taking each mantra as I've made all of them namaha. Okay, so but if you compare it with, you'll say what that says namo, and why are you saying namaha is what your question is. That is because you are saying it all together, then due to sandhi, it becomes O in some cases.
Sairam.
I think Brother Vimalesan, you have a question.
Yeah, Sairam, it's my question is regarding whatever Ganendran already raised. This no, when here you don't put the intonations, high pitch, low pitch, swarga, swari, whatever. So, but for nama, namo, nama, they have high pitch, low pitch. None of that, all that. So that so that's that is for that denotes. Maybe we talked about that earlier also. Is a bhava, or is a meaning change, or just because to express the bhava. That's one thing. And once at one stage we may be able to chant even without looking at the script, but this namo, namaha, the high pitch, low pitch, that is extremely difficult to remember unless we have the script. So how do we now, first question, that is it only to differentiate the bhava, the high pitch, low pitch, and nama, for these nama, namaha?
Yeah, so I think it's a good question, brother. So the thing is, you're talking about accents. Why is sometimes namo upwards, namo downwards, namo without?
Correct.
It's the three namas. Are the meanings different? I think that's the first question you have.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the bhava different? Okay, that's one question.
Yeah.
And then you're asking, how do I remember that?
Yeah. At once we are thorough, we may be able to chant without even looking at the script, but this one is almost impossible for us. But those who learn from childhood, with the Padasala, they do it, right? Just for some way or other. Yeah.
So, okay, the first question is first answer, brother, as far as I know. Okay, I've also done a lot of research, and this is my conclusion based on what my understanding is today. The bhava is no different for all three of them.
Oh,
it is salutation. Number one, we should get. But sometimes the accent, there are two things which influences the accent. In some cases, the meaning itself influences the accent. In other cases, the place, what follows, the sounds which follow also determine the accent.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there are two things which influences the accent. I am still doing my research to see why it is so.
Okay.
And my understanding is there is a deeper science of sound itself, which rishis were familiar with.
Okay.
Of how the accents have to be formed, because there is so much deep science, and this was revealed to them by the Lord himself, and they received. Because it's like asking, just maybe side, all of us have different shape nose, different size nose. Why is it so? Why did God create like that? We can ask this question. Our eyes are looking different, our face shape is looking different. Only God knows. God, he has his own reasons why something is produced in a certain way. There may be a lot of intricate scientific, spiritually scientific factors which go in, but no one has any idea. Even Western science can't explain it. They will say it's accident, naturally happens. Okay, it is genetics, but somebody will ask, why is the gene like that? So I think there is, I think to a great extent, the rishis also accepted how the Lord revealed. And when they got to understand. So I think, from what I understand, the salutation, the bhava is the same, to see the divine.
Okay.
It is not us, okay? But accents don't determine the bhava all the time. But sometimes the bhava or the meaning comes through accent. Like if you take Panini's work in Ashtadhyayi, he has given words and the meanings of each of the words. He has done a lot of work on verbs, okay, in root words and things like that, where he has given meanings with accents. So in some cases, you have same word appearing with different accent, and it means different things. So there are some cases the meanings differ because of the accent. In other cases, accent is only just the science of sound.
Right.
And the place where it is, what follows, what precedes. So you will not find a simple rule to so that we can master and then we will chant Namo Namo properly.
Yeah.
It is not. It is not possible.
Right. Okay.
Until maybe unless when we become divine ourselves fully, then we will understand. How creation takes place, how the sound itself is produced. So at this
But
point
in the traditional way, they are chanting it perfectly without looking at even that comes in practice. Or?
I think so. Because if you look at, there are various traditions also, brother. The same mantras in Rig Veda is chanted slightly different from Yajur Veda. Even if you take Yajur Veda, Shukla Yajur Veda, people chant different from Krishna Yajur Veda. So each of them were given different teachings, and whoever the lineage we follow, we just strictly follow that until we come to a stage where we understand it. So if you find a good person to follow, learn, and then follow to that extent, and then submit to the Lord. If that's why we say Yadakshara Padabrashtam, we ask for pardon. He will fix the problem. But to the extent possible, I think we should strive to chant them properly. And there's no simple way there's no simple formula to know what it is. But in most cases, the bhava of nama is identical.
Okay. So as you said, that so the science of sound determines how the. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
There are lots of texts, brother. I try to study, but time is very limited, and we have so much to study. That's why we have to start young. The faculties are in much better shape. I myself, at studying some of these, maybe long time ago, I should have studied, because then our faculties are at the peak, and there are no distractions. No other thoughts, no worries. So we can focus. Maybe in our next life, if we do not reach the Lord, He will give us the opportunity to study from young age. That's the prayer. And that's what I will say. Okay, Sairam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sairam, Sister Aruna, please.
Brother, as a beginner of learning this Vedas, the Namo O Jestaraja, like Sivopasana is coming, right? Different Namos. But I find it connects well when there's a difference comes, right? That's how I find it. So I just thought to share it. Every Namos is different because how it connects to the next line. That's how remembering. And does it have really, as you mentioned, there's no meaning would not be difference, right?
No, for the word Namo, the bhava is the same, the meaning is the same.
Only basically, the connection and giving the surti and the sound become nicer with the correct. Okay, thanks, Saira.
So that's understand. Okay, so anyway, don't think that what I am saying is ultimate. I'm just sharing my understanding, and so ultimately, Swami has to give you the full understanding through sadhana, to our prayer, our dedication. The more regular we follow this, He will come and give us explanation and understanding, and that understanding also will grow. We will also grow. Our understanding also will continuously evolve until the Lord makes, until we become one with the Lord. So we should not think that our understanding should not be static. Also, it should evolve. At this point in time, whatever I understand, I will share. So I hope it's okay. So if everyone is okay, it's 10:12. We can close if there are no other questions.
Sairam, brother, a quick question. Every time when we chant different, even it could be Ganapati, other Visesham, or the Sivopashana, we have to chant the Shama Pratana too. It's like apologizing the Lord to our mistakes. Every time when we chant in the each, definitely as a beginner of Veda chanters in Vedi, we will make mistakes. So every time when we chant something, we have to chant at the end this Shama Pratana.
So from what I understand, sister, it's not essential that we have to chant the mantra itself, Shama Pratana, but if you chant it is good because it's a recognition. We recognize that we are still not perfect. So just to impress that upon ourselves, we chant that. And I think it is much more when we make mistakes and we know we are making mistakes and chant, it is good, okay. But I think it's more important when we think we are chanting correctly, then we should chant it. Just to remind ourselves, we are making mistakes and we don't know, and that is the worst situation. So I would say whether we chant it correctly or not doesn't matter, and that kind of a thinking should be there. So that thinking also should not think, we should say, oh, we have chanted, so the Lord has forgiven, so we will forget. No, the Lord will wait. I mechanically chanting that. If a person chants it with understanding that I am making mistakes, we also should be continuing to search the mistakes and fix them. We can't mix the same mistakes again and again and say, oh Lord, please pardon. So I think that is the real intent of this prarthana. This prarthana reminds us we may be making mistakes. We should continue to learn. Actually, the Lord doesn't wait for us to ask for pardon. What is there? If we have understood that we have made mistake, we should find out what the mistake is and we should fix it. I think that is the intent of this prayer. So until we reach that perfection, we should always remind ourselves there's more to learn. We may be making mistakes. So the Lord should, help us overcome those mistakes and help us in that striving to become more and more perfect. This is my understanding. But I think that attitude is more important. than chanting, because if we chant, it's good, reminding us loudly that that's what we have to work hard. We have to continue. I hope I answered your question, or
Thank you so much, brother. This Shama Pratana is actually a Vedic mantra, or maybe someone later they introduced this one.
So, see, some of these are, different traditions have followed different mantras, sister, and some guru would have initiated it. This I don't think is directly from the Veda, but it's from a Vedic tradition of some teacher would have introduced these, and so because of that we are chanting. So there are many things in the Vedic tradition which are actually introduced by great practitioners of Vedic tradition. They have given them as aids for students who learn. So this is my understanding.
Okay, thank you so much, brother.
So that's why there is no accent and all that. If you look at it, there's no accent for this actually, for this Sama Prarthana itself. That's one. Actually, maybe it's a side discussion. One of the things people, it's a confusing topic. Many people say, there's something called Sai Rudram, which people have been chanting, and there's a bit of a controversy. I will tell, because whoever has done it without understanding of the sound of science. People can come up with composed things, but we may, without understanding the science of sound, it can be problematic. So these, whatever we are chanting with certain intonations, are coming from a tradition, from rishis who have reached certain heights and who know the sound of science of sound very well. And so if somebody says, I am going to put these accents without understanding it, that is problematic. So that is, I thought I would just a side note on this, because that's always a question which gets asked of me. That is the reason. People have done with good intention, but we cannot call it, we shouldn't confuse it with a Vedic text. And that's all. Okay. Sai Ram. I thought I will just pass that. Yeah.
Saram, brother. I think, like, for instance, when we are starting prayers or anything, we do the invocation prayers, calling our guru to be a witness for. So in the concluding, Shamapratana is like telling him that, you bear any mistakes, whatever, and that helps us to get rid of our feeling that we did our best and Swami is responsible. That's what I look at.
Yes, brother. Thank you. Yeah, we invite the Lord. Actually, many of you, I don't know whether if you have looked at the Ganesha, Gananam Tva Ganapatigam Vam He Kavin Kavinam Upamashra Vastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatha Ana Shrinvan Uti Bissi the Sadhanam. Actually, we are asking the Lord Ganesha to take seat. See the sadhanam, in front of us, we are asking the Lord Ganesha to be seated. That is the prayer. So as brother said, it's a request to invoke the Lord to be present when we are chanting. So we have asked him to chant. So we tell him we have done our best. Oh Lord, please pardon if I have not done best. I will strive more. So yeah, we have invited the Lord and asked him to be seated, the Guru to be also seated. We asked Saraswati, Ganesha and Guru to be seated, and then only we chant. So we should, with that much of preparation, we should go to chant in the best way possible. That's the idea of the invocation and the end, as brother said, Kshama Prarthana. So recognizing that the Lord is present and listening in front of us. Thank you very much, brother. So we will close with Samasta Loka now. Saira. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.